All right, I am live. Let's go live. I think I'm, hold on, here's something going on. Let me cut this volume off. All right, so if you are new to my channel, it's your first time um, watching a live stream or my podcast, I am known as the Queen of Credit because of the results that I get in the credit and cash flow world, helping people transition from bad credit to better credit, right? From good credit to great credit, and then after their credit is repaired, helping them to revision their credit, to use credit to pay themselves and not to pay the banks, right? So, Queen of Credit. Sometimes I'm known as the Queen of Cash Flow as well, right? Because, hey, you take your credit after it's repaired and revision, you take bad debt and convert it into good debt. You take high interest and convert it into lower interest, and you pay off those debts faster, right? That's why I do not agree with the philosophy of cutting up your credit cards, because when you cut up your credit cards, you in essence cut up your credit score as well, right? Closing lines of accounts, lower your credit scores, which will stop you or prohibit you from being able to refinance bad debt into better debt. In other words, high interest rates into low interest rates, which will put more cash flow in your pockets once you take, for example, a 15% vehicle loan and convert it into a 1.9% vehicle loan, freeing up thousands that you're paying to the bank and thousands of cash flow. So don't cut up your credit cards, right? Because that would cut up your credit. But what you would do is learn to flip the game and to use those credit cards and your credit to pay the banks less, and then strategically start paying yourself, right? It's levels to this, as Dave Ramsey calls it, baby steps, but a different baby step philosophy than what Dave had. So I think I used my 5 minutes of fame to introduce myself. The 5 minutes of fame is supposed to be for you. So let me share my screen. I have some people already coming in. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure that you hit the hit the thumbs up button. We have Martin coming in. He says he's the first from Detroit, from the 313. Hello, Martin is in the credit and cash flow room. Thanks for tuning in. This is a pop-up Saturday. So Gwen is in as well. Hello, Gwen from Dallas. You all make sure that you hit like. Gwen, Martin, some of my regular favorites. I'm doing like a Saturday social, right? It's not my normal thing to go live real quick on a Saturday, but I was just reading some articles, about to go to the gym, about to go work out, and I decided let me do a very quick live stream. We have Dave Sincere. Dave, where are you from again? Send me a reminder. Get some of my comments. I give myself the thumbs up on my live stream. We have Dave in. Dave Sincere is in. Houston, Texas is in. Hello, y'all. You gotta love that Southern terminology from Houston, Texas. Hello, y'all. Hello, in Houston. How's everything going? Latrice is in the credit and cash flow room as well. Dave is from the ATL, Atlanta, Georgia. All right. Hello, Atlanta. Hello, Latrice. Thanks for tuning in. A lot of breaking news, right? A lot of breaking news. A lot of breaking news. Dave says Dave Ramsey philosophy works for people who have very limited knowledge and self-discipline. If you have knowledge of finance or yearning of knowledge, there are better ways to use credit. Yes, it's always better ways to use credit. Great comment. We have Wanda from Ridgeland, South Carolina. Wanda, there is a Ridgeland, Mississippi as well. So hello from Ridgeland, South Carolina. So the 5 minutes of fame is for you whether you are watching this live or on the replay, right? If you're on the replay and you catch the replay, also come in and say hello, Queen. Drop your city and state, or just say hello as well, right? Tampa, Florida is in the credit and cash flow room. Hello, Tampa, Florida. You all come on in the room. So if you are watching them in on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, exit out the live stream, notify everyone that I am live. Watching on Facebook, make sure you hit like and share. And if you're on Periscope, share those digits, share those hearts, and show some digital love as well on the scope, right? Hello, Trey Lincoln from Edinburgh, Texas is in the house, right? Edinburgh, Texas. So this live stream won't be long, meaning that I'm not planning on being on here for an hour session. If you all notice, also I've started cropping some of my longer live streams into shorter intervals for people. So we have about 70 seconds. You all come on in the room, right? Come on in the room. Come on in the room, Credit and Cash Flow room. We also have Angela Horn. Hello, Angela, from Lawrenceville, Georgia. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Hello. So let's get into the title. Dave Ramsey and Suze Orman provide problems, right? But these are the solutions that I'm providing. We are in a different economy, right? So different economy requires different strategies, right? A different economy requires different strategies, right? We have Easy, one of the regulars from Swanee, Georgia, is in the Credit and Cash Flow room as we do the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, and time is up, right? So let's get right into the topic of discussion. And let's talk about, let's lead with some problems, right? Let's lead with some problems. The economy, on average, of every 10 years, experience an economic reset or recession, right? So we are experiencing one of the biggest wealth transfers, right? One of the biggest wealth transfers that this economy or this generation have ever faced or will ever face. So either you're going to be a part of the wealth prosperity transfer or the wealth poverty transfer. There is no midline, there's nowhere in between, right? And let me tell you this, the person that provides the solutions, right, not the problems, will be the people that will win in this economy moving forward, right? This economic reset is not like 2008 that only included the housing market, right? This is a bubble, as President Trump said when he first took office approximately 4 years ago, that we are in a big, fat, ugly bubble. This economic recession is being compared to the Great Recession of 1935, which went down in the history books as one of the worst economic recessions ever experienced, right? This is, in comparison, 2020 to be the likes or even worse, right, than 1935. So now, let me tell you this. I'm going to break down some, I think, myths or teachings about money, about retirement, about credit, right, that has been, I think, toxic, right, to the mindset of many people concerning their money, their cash flow, their credit for years and years to come, right? So a lot of people often state that some people have been brainwashed, but there are some people whose brains need to be washed, right? And starting a home-based business is one of those sectors where sometimes friends and family will say they believe it's a pyramid scheme or it's a brainwashing, networking, for example. But they look at SOU shoes, right? Things like a SOU SOU, right? And they won't look at that as a pyramid scheme, right? They look at that as a quick come up, when in essence, that's exactly what it is. SOU shoes are in fact illegal by the FBI. It provides no products and it provides no services, and it definitely does not provide financial education, right? So when you don't have a financial education, when you do not have a financial education, it does not matter how much of cash, right, that you pursue, it will always, and I wasn't planning on doing this, but we might go into this. We might go into Credit Church. So if you are watching me live as I'm highlighting everyone that's coming in behind the 5 minutes of fame, just know I see you, see your name, see your city and state, and thanks for tuning in. But I want you all, this my normal attendees, to hashtag this for me, right? Credit Church, Credit Church, Credit Church. And I wasn't planning on going here, but I will, because as one of my followers said, the Bible is a book about banking, right? So many, there are more scriptures in the Bible about money and money management than it is about salvation and healing. Did you all know that, right? Did you all know that? So one of my favorite scriptures, is a lot of favorite scriptures that I like to reference to the Bible. And thank you so much, Jesus, for coming in the Credit and Cash Flow Room and asking everyone to hit the like button. One of my favorite scriptures, right, exactly, is Haggai chapter 1. Haggai chapter 1, verses 5 through 7. And this scripture reads that consider your ways and thoughtfully reflect on your conduct, right? Starts out that way. Consider your ways, right? Consider your ways and thoughtfully, very thoughtfully reflect on your conduct. Not the conduct of the politicians, not the conduct of the Senate, not the conduct of the House, right? Not the conduct of the White House, but let's consider the conduct of how you have managed money in your house. You all, wasn't that good? Wasn't that good? That just, as my friend girl was saying, that was right off the dome. Let's not consider the conduct of the White House, right? Let's not consider the conduct of the Senate, because we know they are all multimillionaires and we have a president that's even a billionaire, right? Let's not consider their financial conduct, but let's consider your financial conduct in your house, not the White House, right? And your house, not the White House, right? And it says, consider your ways and reflect. It told you to even reflect, thoughtfully reflect. You have planted much, which means you work hard. Most people do, right? Most people do. You get up, you go to work, you labor, you put in 8 hours, 10 hours, sometimes 12 hours a day. But you bring in very little, you harvest little. You eat, but you still hungry. You don't have enough. You drink, but you don't even have enough to be intoxicated. I mean, you don't even have enough to be drunk, right? You even have to drink sparingly, right? You don't have, you have to drink just for the weekend, right? You have to drink within your budget. So it says, and you clothe yourself, but you're not even warm enough. It means you're never satisfied. You're still living paycheck to paycheck, or as Dr. Lynn Richardson says, the queen of the home-based business, you are living paycheck to Monday, meaning that you get paid Friday, and by Monday, the money is gone. But this is the part I really love. And he who earned wages, earn them, that's me, earn them just to put them in a bag with holes in it, right? Because your blessings are withheld. Then it says, consider your ways and thoughtfully reflect on your conduct. Consider your ways and thoughtfully reflect on your conduct. Not the conduct of the White House, not the conduct of the president, not the conduct of Nancy Pelosi, not the conduct of Mnuchin, right? Consider your conduct. Consider your undesire to get a true financial education and implementation, right? And so, right, he said things look a lot different when you turn that microscope on yourself or even the mirror. So when you have a person like myself that comes before you and tell you that your biggest stealer of wealth is your paycheck and how you make your money and what income bracket that you're in and giving you a financial education, and you continue to listen but not take action. See, what people don't understand right now is that I would rather be positioned than smart, right? I told you all the greatest wealth transfer, the Bible talks about the transfer of wealth. The wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just. And then many people who consider themselves Christians or Christ-like, they would shout and jump and dance around the church and blah, blah, blah. But they don't know how to position themselves for that transfer of wealth, right? So a lot of people would rather be smart than positioned. Me, I'd rather be positioned than smart, right? And what I mean by that is a lot of people come on my live streams. They will comment. Teach about velocity banking, queen. Teach about crypto trading, queen. Teach about Forex. Let's learn about stock trading, right? Queen, what do you think about Bitcoin? What do you think about Ethereum, right? Teach us about how to pay my house mortgage through velocity banking through credit cards in 5 to 7 years. They would rather be smart than positioned. And what I mean by, yes, someone on Periscope says, what do you mean? This is what I mean. Jesus came right in with it. Income shifting. Have you all ever read the book, The 4-Hour Work Week? Right? The 4-Hour Work Week, it talks and discusses this very principle of income shifting. Learning how to shift your money. Learning how to shift the money you make on your job back to you. Right? You may be saying, Queen, what do you mean shifting that money back to me? Right? You may be asked, what do you mean, Queen, shifting that money back to me? See, this is what you don't understand. The cash flow pattern. See, I teach on velocity banking. This is my notes. This is one lesson that I did teach on velocity banking. People don't understand that a low interest rate on a mortgage on $136,000 loan, for example, at 3.75% principal interest rate, you're going to pay back $510,000 in interest. See, your money is making someone rich. The question is who? On a home mortgage, it's the banks. See, the banks needed a product, a cash flowing product, right? Cash flowing for years to keep them wealthy, right? If you are a renter, then you're making your landlord rich, right? You're making the landlord rich. Your money is making somebody rich. Your labor is making somebody rich. The question is who, right? This is a breakdown of a person that has a very moderate and low $136,000 mortgage at 3.75% interest, $425 out of their $1,200 payment is going towards the interest. You're paying the banks this much, right? And so this is how I teach velocity banking and people that have high credit card limits to use their credit cards to attack the principal. See, this is, and I didn't mean to go here, but I just went to this chart, so I'm gonna teach it real quick, right? I'm gonna teach it real quick. See, it's called amortization interest and simple interest, right? Amortization interest is the interest on a mortgage loan. What does that mean, Queen? It means that that loan is front loaded with interest. That means it's piled with interest all within the loan note. Credit card interest is simple interest, right? I'm probably gonna crop out this little section, of the video and just teach about and have a short segment of velocity banking. Simple interest, meaning that interest cannot be charged on a credit card until the end of the recyclement of the 30 days. And whatever balance is reporting at the end of the 30 days is the amount that you are charged interest on. That's not true with a mortgage, right? With a mortgage, whatever the balance is when you first take out the mortgage on the loan is automatically calculated in interest, and which is automatically calculated into your payments. So you take credit cards, a simple interest, and attack it with amortization interest and pay, not sending in an extra payment like Dave Ramsey teaches, not sending in an extra $100 or $200 of principal payments. No, that's like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound, right? You take simple interest and you attack amortization interest at big lump sums at a time. It's like having a bullet, right, versus having a grenade. You know what I'm saying? And so that's how velocity, and I know now you probably saying, Queen, no, I don't know what you're saying. I never heard of velocity banking. That's okay. That's a quick recap. That's why you don't want to cut up your credit cards, right? That's why you don't want to cut up your credit card. You want to use your credit cards to make you richer and to gain assets. Velocity banking concept is one of the ways credit cards can do it. All right. So let me see what else I want to go to. Do I want to teach on the 400? All right, let's stop there. And so what Dave Ramsey teaches is let's get a second job, right? Let's get a second job. Back to my Periscope person that said, is Ramsey a good or bad guy? That's a great question. Dave Ramsey is not good, neither good or bad. Suze Orman is not either good or bad, right? Your credit is not good or bad or good or evil. It's all about the people who are using it, right? So, is Dave Ramsey a good or bad person as far as his financial principles? I think a lot of Dave Ramsey biblical references to money are inaccurate, right? He talks about in Romans chapter 8 to owe no man nothing but to love him. That's not the context of that scripture. The whole context of that scripture is to give homage or to give credit where credit is due, to honor people who are supposed to be honored, to thank people who are supposed to be thanked, and to pay people that you take out a loan to. If you tell someone that I'm going to pay you back, then owe that person, pay them back as agreed on time. It talks about agape love in Romans chapter 8, right? The different types of love, the different types of obligations. When you say you're going to do something, when you say you're going to pay someone back, when someone deserves your honor and respect, give them that homage, right? Give them what you owe. That was the whole concept of Romans chapter 8. So he takes a lot of biblical scriptures and religion them down and does not teach them. See, you have to read the Bible from the true Greek and Hebrew language that it was originally written in order to be able to understand it, right? In order to be able to understand it. And so Ramsey Brown says, please pay your debts. And I agree with that. But just like the Bible had said, that you all know, for example, the Bible had a year of Jubilee in which people who did not pay their debts, right, or they still had lingering debts, after 7 years, those debts were erased or eradicated. And they called it the year of Jubilee. All debts were erased. They were gone. They were eradicated. So that's why Romans chapter 8 says, at the end of these 7 years, if your debt is still standing, it will be erased. But up to these 7 years, pay the person that you are in debt to as you agreed. Don't stop paying them, because your debt is going to be erased anyway. Biblically, right? 2 Kings chapter 4 talked about a woman whose husband had died, who was a servant to Elijah, right? And they were in debt to them when her husband died. And Elijah, the prophet, showed her how to get out of bad debt and how to use borrowing to create a home-based business in which she hired her 2 sons to work for her and not to be sold into debt to work for the slave master. So when you ask me, is Dave Ramsey good or bad? As a person, I don't think he's good or bad, but I hate that he takes biblical principles and teach them financially out of the true meaning of the Bible and out of the context. I'm very passionate about biblical teaching for financial prosperity, because the Bible has so many teachings on prosperity, right? And so that's what I don't like about it, right? And then another myth that the middle class have, or the poor working middle class have, is that their 401k is a great thing to have in retirement, right? Or mutual funds, as Dave Ramsey teach. Did you all know, for example, that if your gross income is about $70,000 a year, the gross, right, that it's going to take about $700,000 of your 401k retirement to retire off of, once you add in inflation, the rising, the increase of pricing of goods and services. And so once you really look at your paycheck, I don't care if you are an employee, 90% people are employees, or you are an independent contractor through a job, right? If you're a soloist or a specialist, employees get taxed 30 to 40%. Solos and specialists get taxed 40 to 50%. And that's what I don't like about Suze Orman and Dave Ramsey, is that they don't teach you what your true stealers of your wealth are. They teach you the only thing that keeps you living paycheck to paycheck is bad credit and bad debt, and that is not true. What keeps most people living paycheck to paycheck and in debt is taxes and a lack of a financial education, right? And so You don't need to learn about crypto until you learn this. You don't need to learn about Bitcoin until you learn this, right? You don't need to learn about day trading until you learn this, because why? Even in day trading, the money that you can gain or lose, but the money that you can gain from a profitable day trade, you will still only bring in 60 to 70 cents on the dollar. And what I'm informing you is that there is a better financial formula to that than that, where you can bring in 90% on the dollar, right? And so that's called income shifting your money back to you. What a lot of people don't understand is they can obtain financial freedom right out of the money that they're already making. You really can. You really can. Now, some people, it will require that they level up and make more money, right? I would not dare tell a person making $35,000 a year and getting a $8,000 tax refund, which that will be cut out or eradicated by 2021, that you can obtain financial freedom. That's impossible when inflation, the everyday increasing pricing of our everyday goods and services are happening every year, right? When your landlord can control whenever he wants or she wants your rent to increase. When your property taxes can be increased, right? At any given time, if you are a home buyer. I will never tell anyone with that low of an income or $50,000 a year or $60,000 a year that you can obtain financial freedom, right? So let me read some of these. Income shifting is the best way. See, this is why they don't want you to learn this in school, right? Let me give you a recap. This probably is another section I'm gonna crop out. Why they don't want you to learn this in school is because, let me pull this out. I'll pull this up rather than I pull it out. The General Board of Education was created in 1902. Education was created in 1902. By Rockefeller, right? The origins of education and mandatory schooling. So in 1902, John D. Rockefeller created, along with Dale Carnegie and J.P. Morgan, who many will argue are the founders of the IRS, who families are controlling, even now, the IRS, right? So many people think they're paying taxes to government. No, they're not. You're paying taxes to these families. They founded the IRS, Creature of Jekyll Island in Georgia, right? And so 1902, these founding fathers, the richest men in this arena, and you can also add Henry Ford. I do not have him pictured. They needed workers, right? Henry Ford needed workers for his Ford factory. J.P. Morgan, investment firm and banks. You have John D. Rockefeller. He needed workers for his oil rig, right? Oil rig. Jesus said, landlord, not for me. I love being a landlord, Jesus. I love being a landlord. And then you have Carnegie. Well, that's why you see a lot of the colleges and education institutions with Carnegie Halls, right? Steel Corporation. And so back in this time in 1902, a lot of people were farmers. They controlled their own land, their own agricultural products. They were much entrepreneur based. And they said, you know what? We have to produce workers. We don't need farmers. We need workers. Henry Ford said, I need people to work my factory. JP Morgan said, I need people to work at my investment firm and my banks, right? Dale Carnegie said, I need people to work in my steel industry. We need workers. So we need to create an employees mentality, not an entrepreneurs. So let's start them at a very early age and start them in the school systems, right? We're going to teach them to work like a factory worker would, from bell to bell, right? From this hour to this hour, transition. And we're going to create left-brained thinkers, not right-brained thinkers. The right brain is your creative mind, entrepreneur mind. We're going to tell them that discipline, right? We don't want them to be free. We don't want them to question. We want them in a disciplined format and frame. We want them to walk on the right side of the hallway because that builds their left brain, right? We want worksheets that does not produce creativities, right? But just make them want a single frame of answer. And by the time we make them like this from K through 12, by the time they graduate high school, they will be perfect workers for my assembly line. They'll work on the assembly line for this many hours. We'll ring the bell. They'll have a 15-minute lunch break. After their 15 minutes lunch break, just like cafeteria in schools, after they get their lunch, it's back to work. You clock in, you clock out. You don't ask questions. You're not creative. You do everything the same way every single time. And by the time we instill this in them through the schools, we'll have the perfect economic slaves for our business. So we and our families will continue to be rich and wealthy. And then on top of this, let's do this, right? On top of this, let's make them so dependent on us and our factory jobs and bring them from being farmers and entrepreneurs and make them be employees. Let's take about 30% of their labor paycheck so they never will get ahead of the game. Let's make them bring only 70 to 60% home on the dollar. Give the rest to the IRS. Man, people don't know who the IRS is. They think it's government. It's not government. And they'll always be hustling backwards, working for a paycheck, but never be able to get ahead. Because now, not only do you have taxes that come out of your paycheck, people have to have their insurance that comes out of their paycheck. Used to be a time that health insurance was just enough. It's no longer is health insurance good enough. No, you got to have accidental insurance. You got to have cancer insurance. What about hospitalization insurance? If you're hospitalized, you get, and if you're overnight, if you have surgery, right, we'll pay this amount out. So we're going to take out federal taxes, in some states, state taxes, and even Social Security and Medicare. So they won't even get 70% of their paycheck. In essence, they're going to get about 40 to 30% on the dollar. What brilliance. Isn't that brilliant? Isn't that brilliant? But people still want SOU SOU. They still want a paycheck over passive income. Wasn't that brilliant? And then on top of that, what we'll do is, after we take out the Social Security, the Medicare, health insurance, federal taxes, FICA, state taxes in some states, except Texas and Florida. And then we'll tell them, oh, and I forgot about this one, pensions and 401k. Oh my God, now they're getting like 20% on the dollar. Right? And on top of that, whenever we have an economic reset, right, we'll crash the pensions and the 401ks. So we'll have them losing thousands and thousands of dollars out of their 401ks and their pensions, right? And they'll always be in this rat race of working and chasing a paycheck and chasing cash. Isn't that brilliant? And we won't even teach them this stuff in schools. Why? Because we won't teach them how to use credit in schools to create more cash flow and invest. We won't even, you will teach them negative. See, schools will teach you the theory of credit and money, meaning they will teach you the technical parts. Technical means the theory of business, the theory of credit and money, meaning that you can go to college and a professor will teach you about business that never owned a business. Isn't it brilliant? Isn't this brilliant, you all? Oh man, they set it up great. See, we'll have professors in school systems or university and colleges to teach them about businesses that never own a business, right? So the tactical part, the practice of having a business and making money, they never teach you. Right? Let me read some comments. I always feel like a slave to the paycheck, and no matter how much overtime, it's not enough because they know to tell you that you need to be legitimate in these different types of insurance. Right. Exactly. Unique. Ramsey Brown said, who moved my cheese? I think it's better to ask who moved my money. Suze said, yes, Queen, people still put their money in 401k and rob. People just keep asking to get robbed. Right. Soon as the stock market crash, which is controlled by the IRS, then so does the pensions, and so does the 401ks. So they never teach you the tactical parts, right? And so they take out all these tax fees, and they never teach you how to use credit to invest in cash flow or to invest in assets. Matter of fact, they don't even teach you what assets are. They don't even teach you what assets are, right? And so then you have 90% of people are employees. They get 30, 40%. That's not including pensions, 401k, insurances that come out, right? Make medical bills so expensive that you can't afford it. They never teach you income shifting. This is what the rich and the wealthy understands. Listen, I will never be financially free as long as I'm on this side of the quarter. As long as I'm getting tax high, as long as the rest is coming out of 401k, as long as the rest is coming out of pension, I will never achieve financial freedom. Right? So then you have these people, independent contractors, still get a 1099, but they're not getting a business 1099. So they never teach you how to use debt at 0% interest to invest because debt is not taxed. The money that you get from the bank is not taxed. See, people, it's all about position. You have to position yourself for prosperity. I want you all to type that in. You have to make a mind message connection. That requires typing and writing, right? You have to position yourself for prosperity. Because the reason why you have to make a mind message connection is because for years you've been taught wrong, you've been educated wrong, you've been trained wrong. So now you have to retrain your brain. You need a good brain washing. You need that toxicity out of it, of what you learned from 4 years of age to 18, from K through 12 or K through college. Jesus says, give me real estate, home-based business, and metals. Yes, that's it. Jesus, you got it right. You get those 3 formulas, you can attain financial freedom. Real estate, home-based business, and metals, coins, silver and gold, right? And even crypto. Right? I've been reading something about the Fed coin. And so what people don't understand is, right, position yourself for prosperity is that as long as your cash flow this way, see, this is how the poor and middle class tax flows, right? This is how the poor and middle class tax or paycheck flows, right? I said cash flow. This is how their paycheck flows. They get paid, right? End of the month, end of the week, bi-weekly, etc. First thing that gets taken or deducted is taxes. The second thing is their insurances, health insurance, et cetera, et cetera. Then the third hit is insurance, taxes. What's the third hit? Come on. Because it's not all that come out. Your taxes, your insurances that you have set up, right? Whether it's healthcare coming out, independent care, independent expenses, right? So then the next thing that usually come out is your expenses. So you don't ever pay yourself first. For a lot of Christians, the third thing may be their 10% to their church or their nonprofit. So that's 40-50% of your paycheck right there before you even paid a bill, a rent, a mortgage, or anything. You'll never be able to pay yourself first in this position, right? And so now they have their student loan debts that come out if they have student loan. Now they have their car vehicle note that comes out. Now they have their rent, their mortgage, credit card debt, living expenses, bills, and groceries out of the 40% that's left. So this is how the rich and wealthy cash flow, right? And on this side, employees especially, they have no way of getting back the money that they spend out on their bills and expenses. They don't have a system in place. The rich and wealthy do. Because the rich and wealthy, and that's why I tell people through a home-based business, people, you get 475 tax deductions. If you're an employee, you only get 15 exemptions, right? You need tax deductions. I had that on my other slide with the dollar bill. It's like 475 soldiers versus 15 soldiers fighting for you and your money, right? Let me see. I'm not going to flip back there. So this is how the cash flows for the rich and wealthy. Their assets. They may have rental apartments, right? They have royalties. They have cash flowing through assets, crypto, forex stocks. That money pays them first. They get paid first. See, if you are a landlord, right, your tenant or tenants pay you first, not the IRS, not taxes. You get that money first, right? You have an intellectual property and you're conducting business from your intellectual property or knowledge, you get paid first. See, when I do credit repair and restoration, I get paid first. I file taxes on the latter, meaning my taxes get paid on that income last. It doesn't flow that way with a paycheck. A paycheck, 1099, specialist income, your taxes get hit, your insurance. Oh, I forgot. This was the third thing I was trying to think of. Your insurances. Then the third thing is your 401k or your pension. Those three get paid first. Not you. Not you. Those three get paid first. Through a home-based business, when I get daily text messages from my home-based business, I get paid first. Through credit repair, restoration, consultation, and coaching, I get paid first. through my investment properties where I have tenants, I get paid first. And I file taxes on the latter, or I file taxes last on that income, right? Even in forex and stocks trading, right? At least you get the hit first. You get the money first, and you file taxes on the last. Doesn't work like that with any type of paycheck. So now you have to learn how to convert. If you are very fortunate enough to still have a paycheck, this is why I talk about Dave Ramsey and Suze Orman. You have to learn how to convert your paycheck into passive income. How do I do that, Queen? Through a home-based business, right? Through a home-based business. Listen, people, it's time for everybody to learn something new. We are transitioning to a new economy. We are transitioning to a Fed coin, right? This is transitional time. Biggest wealth transfer. It's time for everyone to learn something new. They are changing the game. For people that want to flip real estate, now they're changing the mortgage rules. They're changing the mortgage laws. Is what my millionaire mentor said, that Brian Beam said, they call systematic oppression. They ran to teach a little, yeah, exactly. Like I said, he's antiquated. K-Love said, after all my bills on my cash back. Oh, K-Love, what knowledge? I tell people, listen, you cannot beat inflation. Have you all been to the grocery stores lately? You see, have you been to do you know in Mississippi, this is Mississippi, you can get 4 bags of groceries and it's about $80 now. That's inflation. So, but when I buy those groceries on my cashback credit cards, I can at least get 3 to 5% back, right? You get that money back on your credit card at the end of the month. See, that's why I teach people what cash flow is. It's not about money flowing away from you. It's about getting money to flow back to you too. When I use my cashback credit cards, I get that money back at the end of the month, right? I can use it to pay the credit card or use it to buy something else that beats inflation. When I pay my bills, my mortgage, square footage of my home, or wherever you reside, apartment, condo, right? If you are a renter, when you pay that through a home-based business, you can get that money to flow back to you end of tax season. So again, people, you have got to get financial education, financial IQ. Dave Ramsey says to get a second job. Where are you going to find them? Let's look at this article, right? Where are you going to find the second jobs? We have 12 million Americans still waiting on their unemployment benefits. Newsflash, there are no second jobs anymore. Most people are just praying to have a job, not unless a second one. Right? Yeah, most people can't find a first job. I don't know what you're asking me on Periscope. It says you get $3 per 100. I don't know what you're asking me on Periscope. Madden says, I found out about the credit report game. Didn't know it was that easy. And it seems like I have a very unintelligent person on Periscope. No job, you aren't looking. That's a very ignoramus comment. But we have 12 million Americans still waiting on unemployment benefits right now. Look at this. And on top of that, this is 6 months into the pandemic. Some laid off. Laid off workers find themselves waiting weeks or even months to receive their unemployment benefits. States blame, this is what I'm trying to tell you all, we are going to digital. States blame, right, antiquated technology. We talked about antiquated financial education from Ramsey and Suze Orman. But now the states are blaming antiquated technology, saying workers, advocates, that there's just no excuse for the mismanagement and failure to prioritize upgrades. As this plays out, an untold number of families are hanging on by financial thread, right? Some people are saying they stopped receiving unemployment payments beginning in May. This particular person featured in the article says, I have a balance of $10,000. That's unemployment balance. Only received $2,000 out of the $10,000. They spent hours trying to reach anyone at the state's economic development department to no avail. Half of the country away, Indiana, I'm sorry. And Indiana has been told is qualified for benefits only to be denied. For more than 2 months, this person stopped working to care for his 5 kids and his wife and landed a new full-time job. Funny how fast they deny a claim, but it takes months to be accepted. Isn't that something? Doesn't take time to deny a claim, but it takes months to be accepted. Another thing we talked about, using cashback credit cards to purchase your food with. There's about 30 million Americans right now being turned down in food banks that don't have food. 30 million Americans, let me share this with you all real quickly and briefly, don't have enough food to eat. The food banks are in disarray, right? It says that this particular person featured in this article used to supplement grocery shopping with a monthly trip to a local food pantry where she would get fresh produce like potatoes, onions, and carrots. It would help out with groceries, right? This is a person from North Carolina, every once in a while. But now her and her husband, they're 71, they're barely making it through, right? So we are in the midst of a food pandemic, in the midst of food pricing increases as well. That's usually one of the main questions I get. Did I receive an email? I don't know. I will look at it once I log off my live stream. Okay. But I'm gonna be honest with you. There are people that are going that invest, right, for credit analysis, and they make the action to invest in credit consulting. So if you are a person who's sending emails or questions and et cetera, and you have not made those 2 investments, it's probably going to be 5 to 10 business days before I respond or have the time to respond to just an email asking questions, right? Someone says you can get a job at Amazon all day long, but they work you like a dog. Yeah. And it's very disheartening that by the time you get in the game, they change the rules. It's always 10 steps back. Right. Budget cash on the channels. Trying to read. I think I skipped on some of these comments. Ramsey worship cash and hates credit. We have to realize that Ramsey get rich in the 90s and 2000s. He seemed like he was worn out cash tactics. Right. And cash is not even what it was worth in the early 90s and 2000s. Cash is the highest depreciating asset there is. Right. The highest depreciating asset. Matter of fact, it only yields about 0.0% interest. Let me see if I can pull this up on cash real quick. I saw this. I love it. Let me tell you, I love education. I really do. And I read what's going on in the economy just for a pastime, right? But it was this article by Forbes. Let me see, can I find it? And the article states about it was on the Fed coin and digital dollars. Let's see, can I find that article? And then I'm logging out because I got to go to the gym. But this is on who needs cryptocurrency. Fed coin, we already have a digital dollar. It discusses or it reveals that the dollar is really already digitalized. It's just going to be a new form of digitalization. The national digital currency of the USA. The people who talk about national digital currency are obsessively focused on cryptocurrency. They may believe digital currencies are a recent invention and the only thing that have evolved from Bitcoin met the description. So they're saying that the dollar really in essence has been digital, right? In February of 2020, there was 1.75 trillion worth of paper cash and denominations of circularization, right? And so what they're saying is almost 90% of the US dollar has no physical essence. No physical essence, which means it's not an asset. It's purely digital. So let me highlight this. And it's not just for the USA, according to this Forbes article, it's worldwide. Only 8% of currency exists as physical cash. So many would argue, why aren't you converting your cash into real, physical, tangible assets that will produce you cash flow? But this is what I really loved about this article. The US dollar took many steps more than a century to evolve from physical cash to today's largely digital currency. First, paper currency wasn't real money, right? Paper currency wasn't real money. It was a promise by a bank to trade the paper for the equivalent in gold. I come before you all and tell you time and time again that gold and silver always has to be used to reset the currency system because of these. For example, here's a $5,000 bill from 1882 that's a promise to exchange for $5,000 in gold coin demand. You all see how money print used to look? See, $5,000, Treasury of the United States, right? Gold coin and demand, official. Look at the word gold certificate, $5,000 gold certificate. All printed currency used to be was a lighter way to exchange for money. What is money? Gold and silver is real money, right? J.P. Morgan testified that gold and silver is real money. Everything else is just credit, including cash. So if anyone's telling you to get out of debt, right, or which Dave Ramsey doesn't even teach about gold and silver is real money, or teaches for people to convert cash into gold and silver, because we people will experience an economic reset. That's why many people are saying, I haven't received unemployment. States are saying our system is antiquated. We need a more digitalized system. The government has put billions into the USPS, United States Postal Service. They will assist in these digital transfer in 2021. Exactly. Cash is debt. I know you said money is debt, but I try, and oftentimes I get the intertwined. Cash is debt. So the best thing to do with your cash is not to save it. That's why banks do not pay you to keep it or to store it in their accounts. It's to convert it into real assets, right? And so all paper money was a lighter way to exchange for money, right? In practice, no one exchanged these large dollar notes for gold. They were mostly used by banks, listen at this, and government to move funds between themselves. A practice that stopped in 1934. So long before the inventors or the advent of computers, the gold exchange promise was dropped. Here's a bill printed in 1928 that declares that it's $5,000. Right now you see on this bill, it reads, redeemable in gold on demand at the United States Treasury, right? Or in gold or lawful money or any Federal Reserve Bank. This used to be printed on cash or currency. So this control procedures that were used to transfer money, aka gold, between bank ledgers before the invention of computers, right? So they started discounting these large bills in 1969, and in 1975, the government started depositing Social Security payments into people's accounts electronically. Let's create something else that will steal their wealth. So everything has been done digitalized electronically for a long time. And all of this adds up to the US dollar is a national digital currency. And it has been for years, right? And so are your credit cards, which are smaller, lighter, more convenient than smartphones, which added to the convenience that they don't have to crash or they don't have to run out of power. So that's why I love credit cards. It's no different than cash, people, except in the hands of the person that's used them. All of it is digitalized. When you get a loan from a bank, you don't get hard cash to purchase your house. You get a digital transaction, right? Most people very seldom get cash on hand. Most people never really get cash on hand when you take out loans, or it's just a transference of digitalized numbers in a computer system. The same thing as credit cards. It's the same method. Cash is convenient for small transactions for people who don't have working or power or connection to small computers, right? And so what's the point of putting your cash in the envelopes? Ramsey doesn't even accept that. You can't even mail him cash in an envelope as a form of payment. So just like the dollar is an added convenience, so are credit cards when used the correct way. Credit cards are not good or bad or evil, neither is your credit. You're just not using the correct way because you don't have education. You're not using your paycheck the correct way. That's why you're getting taxed at the highest, and that's why you're always in the rat race. You're always behind. You can't control when property taxes increase, right? But you can control if you get more money out your paycheck and convert it into a home-based business. So he struggles to say money each month. Let me read Monique, and then I'm signing off. I didn't see. Okay. I guess you're saying Monique says, okay. Unique says, Monique, tell me about, I work at Amazon. It's not the labor that's an issue, it's the long hours to still get only 40% of your paycheck. And Bezos could go up on hourly wages. Monique says, someone she knows, I think, struggles each month. Feet are always hurting and always moving. Actually, there's 11 and a half hours. So if you are one of these federal employees or workers that's working these long labor hours, you want to get more money out of your paycheck, join the home-based business. It's only a one-time payment or investment of $228. It's a one-time investment of $228. Just imagine if you could get $200 to $600 more out of your paycheck from that one-time investment. So, for example, there are some people who receive about $2,000 a household, husband and wife, when they had combined, because now you get 475 tax deductions and not exemptions. See, it's all about deductions and not exemptions. And you get that much more money. This is like you have 15 employees. This is when the dollar in 1971 was backed by gold and silver versus 475. You get tax deductions versus exemptions. So let's say, for example, you get $200 more out your paycheck, right? But then you have federal employees who need this because in January of 2021, they cannot exempt out the payroll tax deduction. So their paycheck will be 12.4% less. So you're going to need these 475 because when your paycheck is being taxed more, if you're a federal or you're an employee who cannot opt out the payroll tax deduction, you still can keep up to 6.2% of that through a home-based business, right? And so let's say you invest $228 one time, you profit $28,000. That's what, $2,000 a month on average, right? A little bit over, less $2,400 a month. People, that's a 10,000 return, 10x 10,000 return. Let's say it's less. Let's say it's $2,800, right? $2,800 is equivalent to about what, $600 a month. Well, no, it's less than $600 a month. $2,800, $200 to $300 a month, right? Yeah. Get more out of your paycheck. That's 1,000 for a return. That's biblical. And you know the Bible talks about 1,000 for a return in the book of Deuteronomy. One-time investment. So hey, I'm logging off. The live stream takes a lot of energy out of me because I'm teaching. And I'm teaching about different things and people are having different comments and asking about different questions. So it takes my mind in different areas. So it takes a lot. Yeah, I'm logging out, but just go back and watch the replay. Thanks for Periscope. Really enjoy. Let's talk money. All right, let's talk money 101. I love that Periscope profile. And watch the replay. I included some things about velocity banking. People don't, understanding how to use credit to pay off a mortgage in 5 to 7 years. Okay, thanks. Share this with your followers. Give me some hearts. Show some digital love. Thanks for tuning in on Periscope, right? How to convert your paycheck into passive income. I don't really teach how to save money. I teach how to store money. Storing money means converting your money to real assets that will give you cash flow, right? Let's Talk Money says working on his credit now. Great. Credit is also an asset. Thank you, Jesus. If you invest in one time $228, you can bring up to if you only receive $233.33 a month more out of your paycheck, which it could be more than that, that will give you 1,000 times return, right? 145 with the bank. Okay, so Credit is an asset. Cash is an asset. Credit is just an asset that you can revolve, reuse, and repeat over and over and recycle over and over and over again. And credit is also an asset that is taxed less than cash. So if your cash is used, for example, to invest in a real rental property, however way you acquired that cash, you probably paid at least 30% on the low end interest on it, right? Don't care if it was through forex trading or stocks, because you have to file taxes on that cash at the end of the year. Once you get a loan from the banks and use your credit to invest in asset or that same rental property, that money or that debt or that cash is actually a tax write-off for you, right? And when your tenant pays you income and you pay a portion of their loan through your tenant's income, that becomes a tax write-off and a taxable expense, where it saves you money and makes you money at the same time. Okay, this is to your peace and prosperity, your credit and your cash flow, your health and your wealth. Queen of credit out. Super Saturday. I might go live again. I don't know. Depends on how tired I am after my workout. Yes, credit help. It will help you obtain a lot of blessings, a lot of cash flow, and a lot of assets. Hello from Heath, Texas. Just go back and watch the replay. I gave a lot of nuggets and jewels in this. So you definitely want to watch it. Definitely, I gave a financial education about the cash when it was convertible into gold and real money, right? So I definitely want to watch the replay.